Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Captain Clyde's MTG. Today, we have some of the best cards for Standard coming out of Thunder Junction, and it's going to be interesting, to say the least, or the most, or who cares. Anyway, don't forget, comment, like, subscribe. We broke 800, on our way to 1,000. Once we get there, it's going to be time for some giveaways. Help support the channel for free. Also, links in the description for cards that I'm selling if you other ways to support the channel, plus get the things that you need from all my box opening videos. And if anybody knows where ShamWow is, I'm still looking. Anyway, moving on. So, we're going to start off with Standard with an honorable mention. And this is actually probably should be number one, but we've had these in Standard several times, so I didn't want to muck up everything with them. But we have the Fast Lands. So, you know, Concealed Courtyard, Spire Bluff, Blooming, Inspiring, Botanical Sanctum. Enter the battlefield unless you control 2 or fewer lands. They come in the battlefield tap. Dual lands that interplay in the first 3 turns that aren't tapped are phenomenal and are some of the best things for the environment as far as power level goes. However, this is the 3rd time they've been in Standard. And I'm just not going to stick them on there anymore. Like, honorable mention, they're going to power up the format. We know they're great. We know they're good. We've been there, seen that, done that, have the shirt. At least I do. And we want to move on to actual cards from the format that are going to be playable. So, didn't want to not include them because God knows they're powerful and God knows they're going to really power up the format, maybe even change it a little bit. But we've had them before. We'll have them again. Let's just acknowledge how great they are and move on. So, number 5. That's right. He's back. It's Jace Reawakened again. Like I said before, you can't cast him on the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd turns of your game. But on turn 4, the ability to +1 and plot a card into your hand is just absurd. I mean, you can +1 and plot Atraxa, and then... Oh, I'm sorry, not Atraxa. It says value 3 or less. But just the ability to +1 and then start casting cards for free every other turn after so. Getting it to 6 will be easy. Drawing a discard is also good. It's also really good for all the lots of Reanimator decks right now with Atraxa and Atali and all that stuff. This is another tool for them to do that with. So I don't think it's going to be as strong because there's not a lot of things 3 or less that we can plot from our hand. As far as mana value goes, that's overpowerful. But we've got to still recognize the fact that the draw the discard to, get a new card, put Attraction in your graveyard, then reanimate it can be devastating. So it had to make the list because it just is. And to be fair, I'm kind of okay with it. I mean, it's been a while since we've had Jace up in here, all up in our face from Modern and Standard. Limited as well, probably. It's nice to see old JC Poo get a little love because let's not lie, they've done him dirty here in a while these last couple times. So yeah, good for you, Jace. All right, moving on. Next we have number 4. We have the Final Showdown. It's the final countdown. Oh, wrong song. Final Showdown, 1 white instant spree card. This is going to be great for any white-based decks with creatures. All creatures lose all abilities till the end of turn. This is going to be good for a white and 1 for all the creatures we currently have, especially those from like Ixalan, for example, that say things like... sorry, my phone's gone off. That say things like, when this creature dies, put it back into play as land. XYZ happens, you can turn it back into a creature. So when those creatures lose all their abilities when they die, they go to the graveyard. So that's gonna be helpful against those creatures, but not the biggest thing that's gonna really work for this card. But really, a white and 1 creature choose a creature you control. It gains indestructible in a turn. Protection spells are a premium, and that will be good. Also, you combine it with the fact that you can also Wrath with this card. Makes it very good. The fact that you can Final Showdown, protect 1 creature, wipe the board, give yourself an advantage is amazing. Also, if you get behind and you're not winning, the my one guy gets indestructible or all creatures lose abilities ain't gonna matter. However, a Wrath of God definitely will. So it's also a good backup plan. And so because of that, I think this card is going to be pretty huge in standard moving forward because of everything it offers with all the options. So there you go. Moving on next, we have number 3. We have Free Strider Lookout. So me and my friends are kind of going back and forth on this. Me personally, I like this card. A green and 2 for a 3/3 with reach is already pretty decent. However, it says whenever you commit a crime, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them on the battlefield tapped. Rest at the bottom in random order. It only triggers once each turn. With that said, if you play red and you have direct damage, you can shock your opponent on their turn and go get a land. You can shock your opponent on your turn and go get a land. The ability of this card to just produce land drops whenever you feel like it is amazing. It works in green-red. It works in green-blue. Hey, I'm going to bounce your creature. Oh, that's a crime. I'm going to get a land. Like, there's tons of ways this can go. Black cards. Hey, I'm going to make you discard and then go get a land. The whole commit a crime thing is very powerful effect. And on cards that do things like this, it's really insane because it's really, you're getting 2 compared to their 1 no matter what you do. And the ability to ramp can also be insanely powerful, especially in multicolored decks looking for lots of different lands. Like, it's a 3/3 with reach. It's a good beater. Like, this has a lot going for it. And I predict in Thunder Junction, there's going to be a powerful green deck. And this card is definitely going to be part of the 60 because of what it does. And it's not even legendary. If you got 2 on the field, you get 2 triggers. I mean, like, it's just insane. All right, moving on. We are at number 2 now, and she's back again. It's Magda, the Horde Master. We talked about this one in Modern. Red and 1 for a 2/2. Whenever you commit a crime, create a treasure token. The big thing here is sacrifice 3 treasure tokens to get a 4/4 red Scorpion Dragon. There are ways to get treasures. Not so many in Standard anymore, but there are still some. And again, the whole commit a crime thing is just a huge, huge mechanic. I'm really starting to think, the more we go over these cards, the commit a crime mechanic may be as big a mistake, if not more, as Infect was. And that's coming from somebody who plays Infect, likes it a lot, but still knows how ridiculous it is. Because again, I'm gonna zap your opponent, shock your opponent. They take 2 damage. You make a treasure. Now you're mana ramping. Make your opponent discard. You're mana ramping. And if you don't use them for mana, now all of a sudden you're making 4/4 flying dragons out of nowhere. There's tons of things that can just make this card absurd. And it's absurd by itself. Yeah. So this is going to be one to look out for. I think it's going to see a lot of play, especially in some red decks, where the whole point is to get across the battlefield with a whole bunch of little weenies. As you use removal and shock stuff out of your way, this thing is not only going to hit for 2, but also give you treasure tokens as you remove things out of your way while it's coming across, which then eventually gives you dragons that are 4/4s and just gets out of hand from there. So, yeah, this is going to be a thing. With that said, number 1 for Standard is the Slick Shot Show Off. I know it didn't make the Modern. That's only because I thought the mana intensity and what it does was not good enough, which it probably is now I think about it, but half does the 1/6 the other. It really takes the place of the blue wizard that draws and discards, because this doesn't let you draw cards or anything like that to supplement your hand. But what this does do is kill your opponent fast, quick, and in a hurry. Red and 1 for a 1/2 haste flyer. Keywords there, it flies. It's not a swift spear, which has to get through all the ground pounders. Plus, it has plot, which means for 2 mana on 1 turn, you can plot it so that on your next turn, when you have 3 mana, you can play it. It has haste and flying, and you can cast 3 instant or sorcery spells and give this thing +2 for each, making it a 7/2 haster And that's if the spells you cast don't pump this thing's power. I mean, if you use the 1 red, get +3/+2 when you attack, that's technically +5. If you use monstrous, whatever it is, the 1 red, get +2/+0, and then put a +1/+1 enchantment on it saying that it has trample, that basically 1 red spell is a +5. I mean, if you had 3 of those, you're looking at hitting somebody on turn 3 for 16 with this card. It's insane. And this is going to see lots of play in Standard, especially in Mono Red. And this may be the card that makes that deck playable, because nothing stops that deck more than your opponent just casting things. It doesn't matter if they block and the creatures die, because the whole point of it is your creatures die too, because they put something in front of it and your creatures are weak. They may get bigger when you pump them or whatever, but sometimes that's just not enough and you only get a trade. So this thing's going to be insane in Standard. Wait and see. I cannot stress it enough. And the ability of how good it could be in the older formats too is also going to drive the price up. So don't expect this guy to go anywhere anytime soon. So with all that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, be kind. And as always, I hope to see you across from the game table, partner. Or slick shot show off.